Hi, today I'm going to throw some mugs off the hump. Here's my hump. It's a lump of clay, in this case about 6 kilos of porcelain. Let's have a look at the tools I'm going to use, and in no particular order, arranged in front of me here, I've got a metal flexible kidney, a rib, for just taking the slip off the side of my pots and shaping them. I've got a small blade here to get rid of any air bubbles, if necessary. I have a brush which I'm going to use for putting water onto my pots, and a throwing knife for making a groove, which we'll see later, just underneath the pot to help me cut it off. Talking about cutting it off, I've got a string. This is bookbinder's thread, which is quite tough cotton, and this is used for cutting the pot off the hump. And the first time I saw someone doing this, it just looked like magic. I just couldn't understand how it worked. Hopefully you'll get the same experience if you haven't seen this before when I do it. It's just wonderful to see. An interesting tool is, in Japanese, I don't know what the word is, but it translates to dragonfly in English. You can see why, because of the shape, cross-like shape. It's two skewers, two different kinds of skewers. One of them's a dowel, and one of them is just threaded through a hole I've made in one of these other skewers. So I'm dipping my hands in water and just laying my hands on the hump, the lump, rather than throwing water on it. So I find that wets it more than enough. And the first thing to do is just gently, or just approximately centre this lump. It doesn't need to be very precise, and that's one of the beauties of this technique, is you only really have to centre the top. So what I'm doing is I'm coning up and pushing down, and one effect of that is to help, even though I've spiral wedged this spiral kneaded this clay quite a lot, to get rid of any air bubbles and to homogenise the clay, because I use reclaim as well in this. This is just a way of making sure there are no more air bubbles or slightly hard bits of clay in amongst the soft bits. I'm going to press down with my left hand, I'm right-handed, until I can see the diameter of the evolving doorknob. Let's call this a doorknob. So if I go in with my thumb, and I turn it slightly, and I'm just going to rest the knuckle of my thumb on the edge of the clay like that. So I'm concentrating on just pulling one way, pushing the other way, pulling it out. So I'm just going to rub my first finger across it all the way to the centre. This also helps me make sure, actually I'll use my middle finger. This helps me make sure that the bottom is flat as well. I just get to feel it. But I'm just going to squeeze the clay a bit, not squeezing too hard, but I'm moving upwards. And I am going to squeeze, keep the pressure on all the way up to the top, so the clay does get narrower, so the walls will get narrower until I get to the point where the rim now is roughly the thickness I want it to be in the final form. So wet it one more time, inside and outside. So pushing from the bottom, now pressing fairly hard now. Going up slowly, trying to match the rate of the wheel. Less and less pressure as I go up. Maintaining the width of the rim at the top, maybe a little bit narrower. Okay, same again. Just squeezing a little bit more. No, I don't want to press too hard, because otherwise it will get too tall. And I want this to be a fairly robust mug. Not too slender and skinny. It's just less pressure. So when you get to the top, no pressure at all. Let's try that now. That looks about right. So now I'm going to push. I'm pushing outwards. I'm keeping an eye on the profile as I push outwards. Less and less pressure getting towards the top. I must remember to flare the top out slightly. You can see how sensitive to pressure this thing is. It's flopping about a bit, but that's fine. This is porcelain, and that's about right. I've got just another pass up here, just to straighten that edge. And now I'm going to smooth the rim with my bit of faux leather. Did I mention this one as one of the tools? I don't think I did. So bit of leather, or in this case a bit of fabric which looks like leather or behaves like it, just to smooth off the rim as we traditionally do. I can also squeeze the rim slightly if I want to make it a little bit nicer in the mouth. So I'm going to take my throwing knife. I can go quite close to the bottom of the pot, just make an indentation. Take your thread, have the wheel rotating slowly, lay the thread so it goes in that slot there, let go of the loose end. I'm holding it tightly on the right end, comes all the way around, and as soon as it's passed, as soon as that loose end has passed this end, I can pull it through, like that. And almost incredibly. So now I take my 2 fingers of both hands and just gently lift it off, tilt it off, and it comes off like that. Now it's going to flex a bit. Don't worry about flexing it as it goes down onto the surface. It's okay. It's all you need to do is give it a little shimmy, a little shake, and it goes back to circular. And it's done. So if you've liked this video, then please subscribe to this channel. Do like this video if you did like it, and I'll see you in the next one. No, I won't see you. You'll see me in the next one.